Well, hello. So I have a KGD Telemaster, I guess you could call it. It is the KRS 3S1025. So, as you can tell, it is a Jazzmaster-ish type body with Telecaster, bridge, pickups, the whole shebang. Now, this is a plague of two things. Very cool and unique, which I think KJD was genius to do. Execution, two major issues, three issues that are manageable. Now, number one, I'm going to start on positive. I think the color itself is a fantastic aged white cream. It does have that spray over kind of appeal. I don't know if that was intentional. Now, the relicing is not poorly done, but way too aggressive for my taste. Um, can't quite make it out. You can kind of see it. There's compound left on it. So you can feel the wood underneath. It's an imperfect approach, but it is cheap in general. It is a different way than something such as my Strat. Now I'll have to tune this while I'm talking or something because it does not stay in tune that great. So my Strat. So my main guitar that I modded, have videos on. It's like a spray over, so it still has finish over the great majority. There's some woodiness on some of it, but for the most part, that's not an issue. Now, the saddles are aged, but that's the bulk of it. There are some rust in the screws on the bridge, pickup screws, but the rest of it looks brand new outside of the body, obviously. The neck on these, they don't age. That's a complaint some people have. In my opinion, you could sand it down. This neck is actually bigger than the others. So the tele type that I tried of this and my Strat, the neck is actually chunkier on this specific guitar. Now, major issues, two major ones. The neck is twisted. I can't fix that. That's a new neck situation. This guitar is way too cheap to steam it. It's not like a vintage Gibson where you're trying to save it or make it go longer, further, save that mojo. This doesn't have any history. It's, fake in that capacity. Now, major issue number two is the actual frets are about 80%, 85% not seated for the most part. And the first fret out of this, so fret way up there, is the highest I have ever seen of an unseated fret. Ever. And that's saying something. It's kind of sad, to say the least. Now, yes, you can try to hammer them in. It's stainless steel, and this looks to be real rosewood, not the weird stuff. So you might get lucky. It's best to press it in. That tool is not cheap. The crappier ones that I look at buying to see if I can finagle to be actually decent are about $120 on Amazon. So it's not the cheapest thing to fix. You can try hammering, you can try pressing. You have to be very careful. There's a lot that can go wrong. Yes, could you just put a different neck on it? You could. This one has an overhang, so it's a little bit closer to a more traditional neck, but it's similar to what you would get on like a Starcaster, where it's 22 frets and the 22 frets are fully filled out. and if I recall, it's been a minute since I pulled one off. It it could be a square heel on all of them. I know it is on the Strat type and the tele type, so I'm gonna just say it is. The spacing though, so I complained pretty bad about the spacing. So on the high E, especially where the string could just fall off, is actually really well done on this. It's not perfect, but if it wasn't for the twisted neck and the seated fret issue that is as severe as it is and consistent as it is, then that I would just keep it and just make it work. Shave down the neck, so it's smaller than even that. I let leaving the Strat as is because it makes me work for it. It's a different feel, and you don't need every guitar to be perfectly comfortable. Sometimes working, like Tim Pierce or others would say, is good for you. Upgrade. The bridge pickup is Elnico, and I believe the the straight tele type one was ceramic bridge. The funny thing is they're out of phase with one another. Now that may be able to be fixed reasonably if there's 3 wires on either of the pickups. Otherwise, you can fix it. It may not hum cancel in the middle position, but in all reality, the bridge pickup is very microphonic and it's not special by any means. The neck pickup is okay. It's on the dark side. The bridge pickup, as you can imagine, is on the bright side. So it's not worth, per se, saving, in my opinion. It has the big strap buttons, and it has the ferrules. This bridge you could top load if you really wanted to. I even pulled the electronics off to see if it has 500K or 250K pots. The others that I had 500K. They may have fixed that. It's possible, I would say. Now, it doesn't stay in tune that great. Some of it could be the mix of issues, because when there's a warp neck, there's usually some lack of stability. The nut is really high. It comes stock with a ruler string tree, which is always nice. So from here, I'm just going to play it because I covered everything and you don't need to hear me talk any longer, and I talked for too long. So you get an idea. Talk too long. Tried my best to demonstrate it, even though it's just not super inspiring because of all of the fun buzzing and dead notes that I can make ring because somehow just know how to work around it after you play it a little bit. It's sad that they dropped the ball on this, but it is what it is. So I hope you got a good idea. Um, from there, if you have questions, I'll answer. I'm likely going to be sending this back. I'm not going to deal with a twisted neck. Some other things I would consider to mess with, but that's a deal breaker for me. You have a good one.